It's sad to see kind fans who had high expectations get angry and curse, saying, "You betrayed our expectations." For those that have no idea who this is the director of One Punch Man Season 3, currently being animated by JC Staff for this current anime season. And this response from the director really comes as no surprise, especially with just how viral the conversation around One Punch Man Season 3's animation has been. The fact that you have, like, Charlie's video that he uploaded yesterday that has over 3 million views on it, I think speaks volumes to just how many people are upset with the current quality of the season. But also, it really brings into question the conversation of just how this happened to begin with. And so, before I talk about, like, everything that's happened today and what's going on with the director, we need to talk about how we got here in the first place and why so many people are upset with just everything that's been going on for these first 2 episodes of Season 3. 6 years ago, back in July 2019, One Punch Man Season 2 came to an end, and a lot of people were left wondering if we would ever get a continuation, and a lot of people were pretty upset with how Season 2 was handled. It was not as beautifully animated as Season 1 was, and overall the reception to Season 2 was mixed. And so years went on by after Season 2 came to a close, and people wondered if we would ever get a Season 3. There was rumors, there was leaks, unofficial announcements, and eventually in 2022, an official announcement on August 18th, 2022, One Punch Man Season 3 was announced with a key visual. And with this announcement, we were left with pretty much no other information. We didn't know if it was going to be JC Staff, we didn't know if it was going to be Madhouse again, we had no idea exactly who was working on the project. All we knew is that One Punch Man Season 3 was incoming, and at that time period, there was a lot of leaks circulating around, a lot of speculation and rumors that One Punch Man Season 3 most likely was going to be getting picked up by Studio Mappa, the same studio that does Jujutsu Kaisen and Chainsaw Man. And then there was other rumors associated with this that said that maybe Studio Photable, the same team that does Demon Slayer, was potentially picking up One Punch Man. Now, obviously, we know how that turned out, and the leaks were definitely unfounded. It wasn't true, and JC Staff eventually picked up the project. And when that announcement came, a lot of people were pretty, like, half happy, half upset. For one, is because Season 2 was mixed with very mixed opinions. A lot of people did not like the quality of Season 2, and let's just be completely honest. Let's not try to revise history. Let's not try to downplay it. A lot of people did not like how Season 2 turned out. They felt it was an inferior product in every single way in comparison to Season 1. And even if that is not a fair comparison, it does not change the fact that the common perception of Season 2 was pretty much negative. So when people heard that JC Staff got Season 3, or they were going to continue holding on to the product, people's overall expectations for the product kind of diminished in that moment, because there was rumors prior to that, like months leading up to that official announcement, that maybe Mappa or Ufotable had the show, but obviously that turned out to be wrong. So at that point, when the announcement was made, many people were assuming or hoping that it would be a very good team, a good director, good staff that was applied to JC Staff to work on Season 3, and that's basically what everybody was hoping on. Everybody was, putting their hopes and copium into the staff listing. And so years went on by. Year after year ticked on by until eventually, about over a year ago, we finally got confirmation that One Punch Man Season 3 would be airing in 2025. And we were given pretty much a very basic key visual, nothing too crazy or mind-blowing, but that was pretty much about it. And then, ever since that announcement over, a year ago, they went radio silent. The official announcements and, information for whatever's happening for Season 3 of One Punch Man was just pretty much non-existent. We got really no new information. It was complete radio silence. And then eventually, when it came into the early portions of 2025, we started getting drip-fed maybe some key visuals here and there, nothing too crazy. And then a trailer eventually dropped that apparently, thanks to controversy, apparently one person worked on the entire trailer for the original trailer of One Punch Man Season 3 earlier this year for 2025, and it led to a lot of controversy around that, which gave a lot of people some pretty mixed reception to that, because it's like, why is one person potentially working on a PV, and why isn't there a whole team working on this? It kind of hinted at maybe something going on behind the scenes. So more months went on by, and we got into the summer of 2025, about 4 or so months ago, and I made a video talking about how, at this very point in time, we still do not have a staff listing for One Punch Man Season 3. We did not have a director, we didn't know who was going to really be working on as animators or anything anything. We just knew that there was going to be the same voice actors. That's really all we knew. We didn't really know what the team was, and that was by far one of the most important aspects of any anime project. Like, disregarding the studio, one of the most important aspects is basically the staff. And the fact that we had no staff, like, 4 months prior, was pretty concerning. And then I made a video saying, I hope this video ages poorly, and that maybe within a week or two at the anime convention, there would be an announcement, like a new trailer, a new announcement with the staff listing or whatever. That's what I said. That anime convention came on by, and there was basically no new information given. Once again, a little bit more drip-fed key visuals that were very basic, nothing too crazy to write home about. And then months continued to tick on by until we got closer and closer to the October air date of One Punch Man Season 3. Within 1 month before the anime's air date of One Punch Man Season 3, we finally got a staff announcement, and the director of One Punch Man Season 3 made an official statement on why it took so long for this announcement to be made. First off, the director went on record to say that they were very surprised and shocked and even embarrassed that they were the ones selected for the project, because they're really not well known for making anything like One Punch Man. They're more known for like slice of life or not really major action orientated series. So because of that, they were a little bit surprised that they were put on a project such as high profile as One Punch Man. And the director decided to go on, in public and basically start talking to the community, trying to relieve people's worries or doubts on the anime of Season 3, saying like they're trying their best, they're hard at work, they're trying to get it out, pretty much trying to reassure the entire community. Pretty much the director was having to play PR. The director was being a PR manager, even though his entire focus should be just working on the show. And I'm not putting down the director or anything, I'm glad to see he was communicating with the community, but the point is that the fact that the director had to take time to do PR to kind of make sure that everybody was like, look, here's the staff and all that, this is what's going on, this is why it took so long, was already pretty concerning, and it did lead to a lot of red flags kind of appearing in my head when the announcement was made. But with how, nice the director was and trying to just be very transparent with the community of One Punch Man, I decided to sit back and wait until episode 1 of One Punch Man Season 3 aired, because obviously it's very clear the director and the staff were hard at work trying their very best to present a product that would blow everybody's minds. And obviously we know the truth of what happens when the episodes air. We've seen the community discussions and the viral nature of the discussions around it, but obviously upon that day of One Punch Man Season 3 airing, everybody got their first true look of what it actually is and how much work has been put into Season 3. And overall, everybody's opinions pretty much were negative. There was obviously a subpart of the community that were trying to defend it, or say just wait for the action scenes. I would like to point out the subreddit for One Punch Man that is like heavy into the copium and hopium of like One Punch Man Season 3. They're still doing that, by the way. But they were trying to say just wait for the action scenes, wait for the important scenes, the priority scenes, before we really judge the product. And so obviously, despite, a very lackluster first episode, I waited until episode 2, and a lot of people waited until episode 2 before they really said their true thoughts on the matter. Episode 2 arrived a few days ago. It came out, and everybody's thoughts were realized of how they felt about Season 3. Yeah, the action sequence at the end was a step up from, episode 1, but it still wasn't anything ridiculous. It wasn't. And the common viewer of anime, the average fan, we're not talking about people heavily involved in the industry that knows how production and everything is done, the average person was pretty more or less disappointed with how episode 2 was. Even the action, which didn't look bad, wasn't anything ridiculous, especially to what One Punch Man Season 2 was even capable of at the time, and that was already complained about. So the fact that it didn't even reach the heights of Season 2's episodes of animation was concerning for a lot of people. Which then, after all that happened, it led to Charlie, Moist Critical, making a video on the topic, myself, Nicholas Light, and a bunch of other content creators pretty much talking about, the current state of One Punch Man Season 3. And thanks to the overwhelming amount of conversation around it, eventually we go back to this, where the director responds to the current expectations of One Punch Man Season 3 and what they feel, or how they feel betrayed about how it's turned out. And so, let's get into the current events, now that we've gotten everybody up to speed. One Punch Man Season 3 has been riddled with a lot of red flags pretty much since it got announced. And now that we finally have the product out and people can see it for themselves, you can no longer kind of put the cover over your eyes trying to deny its existence. It's here, and it's not good. And in fact, it seems to be even more inferior than Season 2's content. And it's very clear that people are pissed. I mean, you wait 6 years for a follow-up for a very highly anticipated, high-profile series that even had a collaboration recently with Fortnite, and regardless if you like Fortnite or not, Fortnite is a pretty big game, and it had a recent collab with it. You know, One Punch Man's a very well-recognized IP. It's not a small property, okay? And everyone that, you know, has been managing this property at the top clearly has just been mismanaging this property for a while. They don't know what to do with it, or they don't know how to advertise it. I don't know what's going on there exactly. But the point is that the reaction and the backlash to the anime is pretty much a no-brainer with just the expectations for it. And so now the director is going online and having to make a public statement discussing like how they feel sad to see kind fans disappointed with the work. And I just want to go and say this before I go any further. Anyone that's sending harassment to the director or staff, full stop. That's not okay. It's not good. There's a line you do not cross. However, people are now using this as a shield to stop, full stop, any critique and criticism to Season 3 of One Punch Man, which is also full stop. No, not happening. Because here's the thing. The product is bad. It is. It's a bad product. It's not good. Yeah, the whole product isn't out, but the point is first impressions matter a lot. And the product already is not good. It's not been presented well. You have the average anime fan either dropping it or not wanting to continue it because of how bad it is, and rather just go read the manga. It's not doing a good job by selling itself. It's not. A product is meant to try to get more people to engage with it, talk about it, and love it, not do the exact opposite. The fact that its most conversation it's had for Season 3 is basically memeing on how bad it is not good. That's the exact opposite of what you want for your property. And so the expectations of people feeling betrayed is a no-brainer. And I feel like trying to shut down any criticism or critique for Season 3 is very childish and also breeds toxic positivity. Those are words I really don't like saying often, but in this case, toxic positivity really is what's going on right now with One Punch Man. A certain faction of the One Punch Man community, a lot of people, and this actually could be applied to a lot of subjects, even the current stuff with Pokemon, there's a lot of people that will go out of their way to literally shovel shit into their mouth, eat it, devour it, consume it as much as possible, and to defend a product that they absolutely love. And they will never want to say anything negative about it because, for one, they don't want to feel like they wasted their time, but secondly, they don't want to upset anyone. They don't want to upset their buddies, their friends, their mutuals, whatever. They don't want to make them upset that they dislike how the season currently is, or how this game currently is. And I feel like toxic positivity is a really big danger, and it damages communities, it damages products, it damages anime and manga, gaming, whatever, because if you cannot accept that the product is bad, you're going to keep getting shit, and it's going to get worse. And the reason why you have bad anime productions, the reason why you have stuff like this happen, is because people are willing to allow this to happen without speaking up about it. If there is one thing, though, that really pains me about this whole situation, is that the director of One Punch Man Season 3 is going to take all the blame for how this turned out. I actually think that this will probably negatively impact his entire career going forward. Because a lot of people won't think of the production committee being the real person behind the scenes that's causing all this, the main issue. People will blame JC staff. People will blame the animators. People will blame the director. And it really is sad that he's going to take the full brunt of this. He's having to play PR. He's having to be the director. He's probably having to fill in for animation and everything. He's doing a lot of jobs right now. And it's just sad that he was left to the wolves. Like, everyone at the top literally threw this man under the bus. That's what they did. Instead of just One Punch Man being thrown under the bus, I actually think that the director of One Punch Man Season 3 was thrown under the bus harder than anything else. Because he will take all the backlash, all the brunt, harshness of anything that happens for this season, he will be the one to blame. People will blame him. And even if you think that is not right, it's not fair, it's unfair, it is unfair, but that's what people will do. The common average watcher will blame him because obviously people are unaware of the real issues behind the scenes of what actually caused this. But criticism is still criticism. You should be able to criticize, but it is sad that this man is going to take the brunt of the whole blunt force of everything, and I feel for him. I really do. I feel bad for the man because he isn't at fault here. He isn't. But, yeah, with that being said, though, I just wanted to talk about this because I've noticed a lot of toxic positivity. I saw, Nicholas's video actually talk about this. He made a video earlier today I was watching, which is what made me even start making this video, by the way. The director of One Punch Man Season 3 is upset at me, my response. And I watched the video, and for those that haven't seen the video, no, the director is not upset at him. He's doing this obviously for clickbait, and also because, he's getting to see who actually watched the video and who didn't watch the video. Because there is a lot of people that are obsessed with him just as much as people are obsessed with me, like constantly talking about me and stuff and just can't keep me off their mind. There's a lot of people, there is a group that also does the same thing to Nicholas Light here, and obviously he's just trying to expose people that would actually watch the video or not. But anyways, with that being said though, I want to wrap up everything here. Tell me your honest thoughts in the comments below. Do you still have hope for Season 3, or do you think it's over? Once again, the reason why I think it's important to critique this stuff is because if more people talks about it, maybe someone within the anime industry will try to change something. They will talk to the production committee or something, because it's unfair that you have the staff and, the director having to take all this when it's not really their fault. And I do hope that maybe the director, whoever, takes their issues with what's going on up to the people at the top and says, look, this is not okay. I would like to see something like that happen. Who knows? Maybe something eventually can. But regardless, so far, One Punch Man Season 3, it's not good. It's doo-doo. It really is. But be safe, stay healthy, love you guys. Chibi out.